Okay. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Peace be with you. Ishimikud Kudushapihu Ushihinte Bi Ilulaya Chimyuka Belovke. Yidishim Shem Kuzriel Kolum Amen. We're going to start with Mattot. And Mattot takes us into a whole level of understanding. It starts on a superficial level. We talk about vows, which is the power of your word making a commitment in essence to God. And then also oaths. When we take it a step way deeper, we're talking about the base of the tree of life, which we call Malchut. And the vows come from that place, which is the physical plane. And the key is to really understand Malchut, which is the root of the tree of life, is Chokhmah. The power of what? So, how's that the base? So Chokhmah, when it's kind of reversed, comes to Chokmah, which is the higher understanding of wisdom. Chokmah manifests in Malchut as wisdom of sovereignty. That's a very, very important principle. If we're going to have real sovereignty, we have to have Malchut in order. For Malchut to be in order, we have to know Chokhmah. And what does that mean? We have to know the mystery of Chokhmah. The mystery of Chokhmah is that it's a mystery. And most people think the physical plane, we know what's going on and everything's true and real, but that's just not a deeper reality. So Chokhmah and Malchut reflects the higher planes, which we don't know anything about. The plane of Atzilut and Beriah and Yetzirah. So, and they reflect in the mystery on the physical plane. So if we're going to have a real understanding and have a real foundation, paradoxically, there's a need to understand Chokhmah, which is the mystery of what? So what we're saying is, in the world of the physical plane, it remains a mystery. Once we get that, then we can proceed to operate with some level of awareness in the world. So, where do we go from that? Well, Malchut is also the meaning of sovereignty. Without sovereignty, there can be no liberation. Without sovereignty, there can be no unique you, sovereign you, who becomes liberated. It's a very important issue today as it was then. Okay? Because the forces of darkness are always trying to take away sovereignty. Because they can enslave you. That's the idea. It's not a new idea. It's been going on a long time. So the power of Malchut, Chokhmah, is very, very key if we are going to evolve spiritually. I mean, it's really key. Now, coming from that understanding, then we can really talk about the power of word. How do we get there? Well, if we're going to take a vow, that takes words. And the power of word is the power of sound that becomes letter and vibration and ultimately becomes word. So this is about the power of word. As we hear the term abracadabra. Anyone ever heard of it? Well, most people have, which means I create what I speak. Okay, the power of creation with word. So now we take another step and say, ooh, power of creation. Our words create. Oh, from the power of Malchut and the wisdom of Malchut. Remember, that's the higher level reverberating. Then it means we have to take responsibility for our words. And we can see in today's society how that's not exactly happening. And so part of taking responsibility for our words is speaking in truth. We have a power to create beauty and abundance and harmony and oneness, and we also and love, and we also have the power to create hate, chaos, and separation. Power of words. Power to speak. So what Mattot is talking about is we have that power, and it's about using that power wisely to uplift the consciousness of humanity on the planet and our own consciousness. So, power of word, choice of word. How do we start it? And the message that I give is start every thought, because from thought comes words, with love. That's a way of beginning to understand we create what we speak. But our thought is the primary part of where the words come out from. So when we start our words, our thoughts with love, which then create words, which then create action, that's the key, and it's a very key message in Mattot. So that's one aspect, and it's our sovereignty that allows us to speak as a creator. Everyone is a sovereign creator. That's the teachings of the Torah. And that's very important. And it's in contrast to other systems like communism, which very, very clearly make a totally other statement. There is no sovereignty, and you have no soul, and we don't respect family, we don't respect anything you can spirit, and there is no God. It's a very different orientation. Okay? Very different results. I don't want to go into all the results that what we saw from Mao and in the Soviet Union, and 150 million people probably estimated killed as a result of that. We want to take a look at, that's the power of word too. We have to understand that. We want to look at the power of our word that we can create, where we create life and abundance and harmony and deepen our connection with the divine. Because that's the bottom part of that. Because our words need to be in alignment with the divine. Now, if you don't believe in God, then that's a little problem, because how do you get in alignment? Not a small problem. So that's the kind of a key understanding of Mattot and the word vow and the power of word and our power to create either connection with the divine or disconnection with the divine. Now, from that, once they kind of worked through that, the question came what to do about Midian. And if we recall in last week's parsha, guided by Balaam, the black magician of the whole Middle East, the women of Midian and the young ladies of Midian were told to seduce the Israeli men and get them to bow to Baal Peor. Bow to an idol and commit to them. Totally breaking their vow. This is key. Breaking their vow. What was their vow? On Mount Sinai, the vow was to God, to follow your way, to follow the 10 speakings, to follow the Torah. And so they broke their vow. Very important, very serious. And the plague breaks out, 24,000 people die because they broke their vow. So how do we repair that? So let's talk more metaphysically for a moment so we can kind of get a better feeling for it in the bigger picture. So Midian represents Ama Shikra, the world of illusion. And they were getting people, not just about idols, but basically saying, there is no real God that's in your life on this earth plane. Huge statement. So here's an idol instead. And Amrit Shikra, the world of illusion, is what they were trying to introduce Israel to kind of believe in. That the world's an illusion, everything you do is meaningless. And there's the intervention from Pinchas, turns everything around. Finally, Israel becomes unified, and they're able to defeat Midian, metaphysically, the world of illusion, the world of no meaning, and bring people back to the deeper truth that there is a God, and that God is in all creation. And we then go to, I'm going to use Proverb 16:8, which is Shemini Shem Lagnit Tamid, means see God before you in all that you do. That's key. So the antidote to Amrit Shikra, the world of illusion, is the world of truth, that in all your actions, you're experiencing the divine. See God in all that you do. That's the antidote to the big lie. So it was given to people. It was like, okay, here's the understanding. So the antidote to the world of illusion is this very, very important way of thinking that King David in Psalm 16:8 is pointing out. Shemini Shem Lagnit Tamid. This is very, very important to understand. So we're given the antidote, or I'm giving them the antidote. It wasn't actually in the parsha, okay, of how we can live in deep reality in every moment. So either we're going into the world of illusion in every moment, or we're going into the reality of seeing God in all of creation. So that's a very a big thing. Now another part is that all the tribes were involved in defeating Midian. Now the importance of that is that everyone had a collective input. So they're establishing the principle of sovereignty again. So each tribe had its own input in the bigger picture. So what we see is a principle here of the play between the collective and the individual and the tribe in terms of the play of sovereignty. So you have the collective sovereignty, you have the individual sovereignty, and you have the tribal sovereignty. And it's a very important way of understanding that play, because that's what makes it work. That's the Torah teaching, is that unique individual sovereignty has to happen. That's your vow, and that's your way of being, your unique expression, your tribal expression, and your overall collective expression. And it's working out the harmony for all those things to happen, rather than just saying the collective is all there is. So that's a very important Torah teaching in terms of that overall picture of the importance of sovereignty, being at the source of your vow, source of how you live your life, koach, ma. Okay? And that is the essential, deep message of Mattot, and kind of condensing it down to one sentence, is understanding the unknowable mystery, or let's say, understanding the mystery is unknowable of our presence on this physical plane, and we operate from that unknowable mystery. That's pretty interesting. Okay? If we think we know what we're doing, we don't understand anything. It gets us in all kinds of trouble. So what the teaching is it's unknowable. Don't worry about it. And proceed from that foundation. Because that's more connected to truth than thinking you know something, thinking you're right, or thinking you're wrong. It doesn't matter, because it's still a mystery. Koach ma. So it was a huge transformation in consciousness to go through this process. Now, what's good about this is already in the 40th year. Remember that those before 40 years. They have been through a lot, and Mas'e takes us into that travel. And that travel is the 42 journeys, the Koach, where in each stop there is transformation spiritually. So we're talking about the spiritual path and its many journeys and its many stops. And we see the evolution. There was so much resistance to Moses on so many different levels, we won't even review it. Because at the end of the story, after Pinchas was activated, finally, in the 40th year, there's unity. And they are able to overcome, that's why this story with Midian is so important in Mattot, they were able to overcome Amid Shikra, the world of illusion, and unite Aaron Koach Ma, the world of truth. And from that, they're able then to walk in the world, as Abraham was told, walk before Hashem and be a blessing to the world. That's a key. And so we see this whole process where they're finally ending up at a higher level after 42 stops and all kinds of confusion along the way into some level of real unity. Finally. And so that's the beauty of that. And that's what the spiritual life is about. It's a path, got a lot of stops, a lot of confusions, and that's okay. Because going into the desert means the unknown, and it's walking in the spiritual path is about walking into the unknown and having the courage to face the unknown within yourself as well as the outer. So it's pretty exciting to kind of reach finally after 4 years a place of peace and unity, so that we can move into the next step, which is the promised land. So may everyone be blessed that we are able to reach the Koach Ma foundation within ourselves, that we are able to understand the importance of the multiple levels of sovereignty and see ourselves as sovereign beings in our own direct communication with the divine. That's a key to the process. Every sovereign being has their own way of connecting with the divine, and they're all valid. Okay? And then working collectively to be a blessing to the world. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Amen, amen.